Fantasy Tactics, if you're familiar with that. It was kind of an old school throwback. We're going to modernize it for today, add difficulty levels, things like that. And also it's that plus the Dark Crystal, which is a fantasy franchise that I grew up with. A lot of people have come out of the woodwork recently, and there's a lot of fans out there of the franchise since we made the announcements, and it's really fun to see their reaction and realize how deep the love for something like that goes. So it's taken our love of tactical strategy games and the Dark Crystal and marrying the two of those together.
So you mentioned modernizing like Final Fantasy Tactics. What exactly do you do to modernize that?
Well, so the core gameplay remains great. If you've played it recently, the UI is a little difficult to get through. So we have a more circle menu oriented, something more graphical, easier to get to the core commands. We do more things in the pregame to set you up so that it's a little bit easier to play, and you're filtering down some of the options so that each individual mission you're presented with less options, but you still have all those things in the metagame to pick and choose all that depth that we want in the game. Just kind of a streamlined presentation. Difficulty levels is a big one for us, so that we can get people into the game very easily. But then people who want a harder challenge, or the core tactics gamers, since this is built primarily for them, it's something that they can go play the harder difficulties and really have that challenge that they're after.
So like marrying, making it accessible with giving those tactic fans the deep tactical experience they're expecting and looking for.
Yes, exactly. And we have our strategy roots go way back. We built a good chunk of our studio helped build the Age of Empires series for Microsoft, and we always took a lot of pride that game was very approachable, as approachable as an RTS can get.
Yeah.
And we like that. We want something where people can get in easy and find those layers of depth, and we create kind of a sandbox where they can go in and play through the game. We have things like a New Game Plus mode that'll open up after you finish the game and give you a different set of challenges, different set of rules to play by if you want to go through a second time.
So it sounds like it's something accessible for like strategy and tactics fans, but what about someone who doesn't know anything about the Dark Crystal? Like, is there something to kind of onboard you into that franchise?
Exactly. We look at the job as kind of three different pieces in that regard. We want to build a great tactical strategy game that people who love those are satisfied. We want to build a great Dark Crystal game for people who love the franchise. We're going to come out a little bit after the Netflix series comes out, so they'll probably have seen some of that show, and so we want to make them happy. But we also want that third category, people who aren't familiar with either. There's a fourth category, people who are familiar with both, but we got those. So we want to make something where people will be able to jump right in. They won't have to have seen the Dark Crystal. They won't have to play the tactical strategy game. We'll introduce them to both of those things if they haven't played either before or watched anything. It's a challenge. I won't lie. The Dark Crystal original movie is 35 years old.
Yeah.
And people remember that with a lot of loving affection, and their fandom goes very deep for that. And we need to nail every single aspect of the lore to get it right to make them happy. Some people will have seen half of the Netflix show and they'll pick up the game. Some people will have seen the whole Netflix show 5 times and pick up the game. And so it's a fun challenge though, because we love the IP. We love showing it to people in a new medium, something they can be interactive with, and they can play through the series exactly as it plays out in the Netflix season, or they can play through and do with different characters and upgrade them differently. We also have a bunch of extra content besides what's just in the show. We call it Season Plus Plus. We're not very creative with that name, but it's something that we want true fans to come in and see the series, but also see what the World of Thraw has to offer. All the nooks and crannies, all the lore that we've grown to love. We want to show that to everybody, and there'll be probably twice as much content in the game as what's in the series.
Wow.
You talk about upgrading characters and maybe using different ones that would appear in the show. How much customization is there to before each battle, I guess, and during each battle?
A lot. So kind of following the mold of some of the great tactics games. We have a job system. We have a major and a minor job, and you have your major job. That's where you get most of your abilities from, your basic core stats, and you'll be able to unlock different jobs for each of the Gelflings. Some of it based off of clan. So we're set. The Age of Resistance is set 100 years before the movie. So back when there were thousands and thousands of Gelflings. And if you've seen the trailer for Netflix, I think it was very rewarding to see everybody finally get a chance to see what we've seen for a while, where it's these lush, verdant landscapes, not this destroyed planet where there's only 2 Gelflings left. So there's 7 clans of Gelflings. They don't all get along. They're not quite at full war, but there's definitely some work to do to get them all united. So that is something that players will be able to play through, and if you have a Gelfling from this clan, they'll have a certain set of jobs and a different passive bonus than a Gelfling from another clan. And so that there's a lot of layers, there's a whole gear system. You'll be equipping most of that in the pregame. In the actual tactical missions, you'll have your set sort of layout of abilities. The footage that we're showing here shows a command wheel of 4 abilities. If you upgrade all the jobs, you'll eventually have 8 that you can fully slot, but you'll probably slot those 8 out of 12 to 16 options that you've unlocked.
So I gotta ask, permadeath?
In some potential modes, maybe, but not in the initial. The straightforward mode, as a nod to giving people a way to get into the game without having to have played a lot of tactics games. We're not going to do permadeath on the standard difficulty level. That's probably an option that'll be saved for hard or...
yeah, it makes sense. That can be very stressful.
Yeah, especially for someone who's like coming into this game from the Netflix show. Which kind of brings me to my next question, which is like, you have a lot of people that you need to make happy with this game. On the one hand, a tactics fan, but also like, you're working with Netflix. What is that like? That's really rare, unheard of as far as games goes. Well, Netflix is huge. What's it like to work with them?
We're actually making another Netflix game right now for Stranger Things 3.
Right.
That's releasing the same day as the new season of Stranger Things. So we have the Dark Crystal is actually the 3rd game we've made with Netflix. So
you guys are seasoned Netflix collaborators.
I'll say yes. We actually they're fantastic to work with. We have access to everything. We have scripts for both of the shows that we're working on, and we make sure that those are very secure. And the security is tight. We have paper all over all of our windows, and nobody can come into the office. And so it's our job to help protect the franchise and the seasons that are coming out. But they've been great to work with. The Dark Crystal is different than working on Stranger Things because we have also the Henson Company to work with.
Right.
And Stranger Things is kind of a cultural phenomenon from recent years, but the Dark Crystal, for a lot of people, it's their whole life that it's been around, and they've had 30 years to grow and love the love for that franchise. So working with the Henson Company has been really great. We've had the opportunity to be in meetings with Lisa Henson, and she instantly started criticizing the angle of the ears of the Gelflings, and that clan wouldn't wear that clothing, and it's been invaluable to have that feedback for our artists, as we have a lot of content to make. You can imagine all the jobs for the different Gelflings and the clans, and we love getting that feedback from them. We had a chance to go visit the feature workshop, and we're pulling the molds for all the puppets off the rack and taking pictures, and it's like a kid in a candy store a lot, honestly.
Yeah, sounds like it. And I mean, like, you guys are fans of the Dark Crystal. Like, is there some element of like pressure to do justice to the franchise that you love so much?
Absolutely. I think when we had the opportunity to pitch this game, I've never seen our studio react so enthusiastically for something, and every single artist either talked to me or emailed me. They think, "Hey, we have to do this game." I guess we have to do the game, and it's an honor to work on it. And I think we take a lot of pride in trying to do the best job possible. And we're showing the game for the first time now. It's not coming out for a while. We would love feedback from the fans. Tell us what we're getting right. Tell us what we need to work on. And we're very iterative as a studio. We play the game every day. There's a new build or 3 or 4 builds every single day that we're working on it.
Really?
So we're cranking out, and we iterate by playing, which is something that we learned from our chief designer, Bruce Shelley. And it's the game is playable, and we're balancing and driving feedback off of what's fun, and trying to dive more into what's fun. And okay, that's not working out, so let's do less of that. We'll be showing the game more and more as it gets closer to launch, and we love any feedback that the fans have.
Mm-hmm. So you said 3 or 4 builds a day, right? Yeah. Per day. That seems pretty intense.
Well, it's automated at least.
Okay, that's good. I didn't really have a question with that. I was just kind of thrown for a loop with that one.
We are we're a small team, and we work really tightly together. So people kind of get a little grumpy when there's not a new build. Like they see that the check-in of, oh hey, I got this new feature working, and they want to play it right away. So often we'll kick off a build. I usually go to bed pretty late, like 4 in the morning or so, and I'll kick off a build. Somebody else will kick off a build when they get in. We'll do another one at lunch, and then usually kind of midday. And then it's part of our culture to test a lot and make sure that we are actually doing the things that we say. We don't just want to design a game on paper and then just assume that that's going to work out. It's very much, for us, comes out of what's fun, what's working from a playability standpoint. Hey, this mission design is just, it's on its 5th iteration and it's just not working. Okay, we're going to scrap that and we'll move this other mission into its place instead. We drive a lot of that by feedback.
So you talked about how Tactics is a huge, Final Fantasy Tactics is a huge inspiration. Are there any other games, because this genre kind of is getting a rebirth, I'd say, with games. Are there any other games more modern that maybe you guys look to as inspiration?
Well, we can't talk about Tactics and not talk about something like XCOM. Into the Breach last year was fantastic. And we take maybe a more traditional view on the metagame than something like Into the Breach. It's we want you to stick with these characters, and so it's about getting characters from the show. I don't think I can announce their names yet. But you'll get the favorite characters from the new show, and you'll be able to upgrade them and take them on different courses than they did in the show. You'll be able to kind of craft make your own Gelfling, and be able to get to name them, or side characters like Florette here. And we want you to live with them and live with those choices. And I want to go back and replay the game and take Florette down this path and get her upgraded this way. And she has a bunch of really cool abilities. We've seen some of them here, which she's flying. If you're a fan of the Dark Crystal, you know that all the female Gelflings can fly. We can't really have a game where an entire gender can fly, so we kind of gamified that, and some of the female jobs will let them fly and some of them won't. So she has a really great fireball ability and she can't pair that when she flies because that would be way too strong. But the fireball ability, if you go heavy into that, you'll upgrade that and it'll do more damage and a bigger range of effects the higher she is relative to her target. Elevation and terrain play a huge role in the game, but if she is doing her sniper, the bowmaster job, then the height difference raises her chance for crit, which then gives her a chance to earn an extra attack. And so we want all that layered gameplay that well, if I pick this and I pick this and I pick, well, if I got this cool bow ability, I better have that gear on my character that buffs that. And so for us, it's about getting the characters that you love and going out and turning you loose with them. So something like what Into the Breach did, to bring it back to your question, with the more roguelike nature on Tactics, that would not be a fit for the character-based nature of this game.
Right. And it sounds like, you are working to make sure things aren't OP, but working with those in-universe reasons why maybe a female couldn't fly.
Right. So if you want your females to fly, then you'll pick those jobs.
Right.
And we've had people declare, I'm going all lady immediately, and that's fine. The game will be playable that way, and if that's how you want to play it, fantastic. But for us, it's about giving people choices, and we want people to kind of find their own way to play through it, and it's certainly got to be balanced and compelling. But then to go back to how do we take the Dark Crystal world and gamify it? It's going to be different. Watching a passive movie or a TV show, you do different things than you do in a game.
Right.
We have to exaggerate the differentiation between the clans so that when you see one of the Stone in the Wood Gelflings, you know immediately that's not a castle guard. And it's that's going to look a little different than the show, but it needs to feel authentic still.
Right.
And inspired by is a phrase we use a lot. I know the fans will tell us if we get it wrong. But hopefully they'll cut us a little bit of slack, being that it's a game, and playability comes first, of course.
So I hate to cut you off because it sounds like there's a lot to this game and a lot to talk about, but we are out of time.
Well, I appreciate the time.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. That was the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. Sounds like you have a lot of people satisfied with that. Looking forward to see more. Stay tuned. We'll have a little bit of a break, but we'll be back. We will be back with Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, so stay tuned. We'll see you later.